Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the very first episode of The Fight Guys. The Fight Guys is an idea that we have had for a while. I am Fernando Pimentel of BehindTheGloves.com, and to my left is
Dominic Verdeen of RingTV.com and IFL TV over in the UK.
To my right,
Stephen Cunningham III, KELL Brooke Sports.
And Frederick Hawthorne from Barbershop Conversations.
And The Fight Guys is basically a group of us media guys here from Southern California. Get together, we discuss about what's going on in boxing, the week that was, the week to come, things that are coming up. We get so many media events here, press conferences, workouts, Golden Boy Promotions is out here. We have so many things that happen here, so we have a nice grasp of what happens in boxing. So we feel we have the knowledge to actually just talk about what's going on in a
Just a tip.
right?
Just enough to get by.
Well, I guess we'll see, right? Or they'll tell us.
They'll let us know, right? All right, so
First episode.
let's get this started right. Let's go off of what happened this past weekend. It was a pretty big weekend in boxing. You know, September always is huge. We have that big pay-per-view, and we always have that big event right before the pay-per-view. The big event for the UK was obviously Gennady Golovkin versus KELL Brooke. Before we go into anything else that happened out here in LA, let's talk about that. Dominic, let me start off with you, and let me just ask you, what did you think, how did Gennady look versus the lighter guy, KELL Brooke, in your mind?
Well, let's see. A lot of people were stipulating that Gennady Golovkin was sick, he was ill. Abel Sanchez and Tom Loeffler, they squashed those rumors, telling the fight fans and telling the fight world that it was more than just Gennady being really angry and upset because of traffic and so forth and so on. But my question is, why did Team Triple G decide to get to the UK with only 6 days? I'm told that they arrived with 6 days. How do you allow your body to acclimate 8 hours ahead? We all know that Gennady Golovkin lives in Santa Monica, California. So we know his body's used to Pacific time. Now, 8 hours is a huge adjustment. I traveled to New York for 3 hours ahead, and I'm losing sleep because I can't adjust. I can't imagine 8 hours for Gennady Golovkin, and the fact is he did not impress. He didn't look that great in the first couple of rounds. Looked like he was either just going for the knockout, or as he mentioned before, trying to put up a big fight, a street fight. I watched the fight again, and watching the fight, I was able to see that Gennady did some things that I liked. He was cutting off the ring, adding more pressure, going to the body. But he was just swinging for the fences. And one thing you don't do in baseball is swing for a home run. You got to try to connect and get that single or get that double, you know?
And that's something that Abel said afterwards, that Golovkin kind of went a little nuts on him. He went a little crazy, didn't pay attention to what the game plan was. And even Gennady in the post-fight with the Lampley said that this wasn't boxing, it was a street fight. But let me get your thoughts on it, Steve.
Well, the Abel said he gave him what was like a D rating or something when they.
No, gave him a 4.
Gave him a 4. That's
out of 10, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was that bad, but I mean, you know, I kind of saw what everyone else saw. He was getting tagged a lot. He had issues with KELL Brooke's speed. There was, I don't want to say he was hurt, but he definitely seemed bothered by. I don't know if it was the accumulation of punches or maybe it even was the power, but you know, you see him take shots and normally he's like, okay, come on, let's go, like hit me more, and he was more like, okay, let me figure it out because I'm starting to get hit a little more than I wanted to. I think it's just kind of what you said. He was swinging for the fences. I mean, he knows he has the equalizer. He knows it's a smaller guy, and I mean, yeah, he wasn't even jabbing. He was just like straight left hooking, like lunging at him. So I mean, you know, he did what he had to do. I think the stoppage was, at first I thought it was a little fast, kind of seeing it again and listening to kind of other fighters talk about it, like Roy Jones was talking about it on Saturday when we were all at the fight, and he was saying like, hey, look, if you have a smaller guy, you're in there with a monster of 160 pounders all want to fight him, yeah, why would you let your guy get beat up? Which, you know, I totally understand that. I understand that Brooke was, you know, upset about it, but then finding out that his orbital bone was like, you know, crushed and all that, is like, all right, I understand, you know, okay, you want to save your guy. I mean, he looked good. I think, you know, hopefully it allows these guys like Saunders, Eubank.
It opens a lot of doors.
Yeah, you know, hopefully these guys were like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, well, shoot, if this little guy could hit him, you know what I mean? He would bother me.
That's what Steve was saying about Gennady getting hurt. I thought for a second there when Brook landed an uppercut.
In the second round, or
Yeah,
something
that
like
second
that.
round uppercut, yes.
His body jumped.
He hit him
Very similar
flush,
to
literally
Ali
right on the nose.
when I'm sorry, George Foreman when he knocked out Frazier.
Okay.
He had that uppercut, remember? And Frazier went onto his knee, he jumped. I'm not comparing that fight to the great fight between those great heavyweights, but there was an instant where Gennady seemed a little troubled. I wouldn't say he was completely buzzed or hurt, but there was something there that I'd never seen. And I think that definitely, again, opens up a lot of questions.
And even adding to that, we saw something on Triple G we haven't seen in a while. Like, we saw him allow Willie Monroe and Wade to hit him and everything, but even then he had no marks on his face. With that Kell Brook fight, in that second fight, you saw he had that nice right here on the cheek. It was nice and red. Fred, let me get your thoughts on the fight and everything that we've been saying, what's going on there?
I thought it was like, after I watched the fight, I thought it was like big brother versus little brother playing basketball. Whereas, he's gonna bump you, push you, maybe try and tickle you or some shit. But at the end of the day, I think Triple G really, at the bottom of his heart, knew it was just a matter of time.
Yeah.
And when you're playing your little brother in basketball, you don't really have to do the fundamentals. You can just back him down, and he'll wear down by the time you get the score is 10-1. He's like, go ahead and get the 13 if the game's a 13. And that's what I thought it was. People say Triple G was flawed. He didn't stay behind his jab. He was undisciplined. He was bothered. All those may be true, but he knew there was an end point for Kell Brook. You know what I mean? At first, like you said, I thought it was a quick stoppage. But when you look at it and you like, hold up, we about to pay this guy out. Right. In my heart, I was like, they using Kell Brook to get paid. Next, he's gonna fight Canelo in December. I was thinking that in my head. I was like, the moment Kell Brook gets in trouble, we stop in the fight. And we're gonna take this couple $1 million and then move on. And then if Canelo want me,
I thought the same thing when they started the fight. I was like, Jesus, they're just paying him out. They're just trying to line him up. But here's the thing: I think Kell Brook versus Canelo Alvarez is very intriguing.
It's a good fight.
Where Brook can honestly do more than what most people think. I think Brook is in a position where he can seriously upset the odds.
I think Brook at 154 actually would be a nice fit.
Exactly.
Let's talk about that, because one of the big things that came up throughout this entire fight promotion and everything was Kell Brook's weight. 30-day weigh-in, he was 176. 7-day weigh-in, he was 167. Everybody's always said he's a big welterweight. For 147, he kills himself to make it. Do you think now, considering what he did at 160 versus who he did it against, he could drop down to 154 and actually be dominant? Mind you, we have the Charlos there. We have J-Rock Williams, Canelo. We have Erislandy Lara. That is a murderer's row right there. And I'm not saying that what we have at 147 is puppy chow, because it's not. Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, a rematch with Sean Porter. What do you think would be the best plan for Kell Brook at the moment? 154 or 147?
I think now he's a Swiss Army knife. You know what I mean? Where he'll dance. Can I steal a belt? Kind of like what Adrian Broner's doing now with Ricky Burns. You know
so he'll be this generation's version of or this decade's version of Paul Williams.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah.
I think Kell Brook, what he should do, what his team should really set up for him, so he can get a little more acclimated with the weight and get himself used to fighting bigger guys. They should try him out at 154 against Austin Trout. Now, Austin Trout is not a heavy hitter, but guess what? He's a natural 154-pounder.
Sure is.
So he is going to be strong. He's going to have some more pop in the welterweights. So I think with that being said, there's some viable options that he's going to have where they can actually bring him up nicely and be a little more prepared, because anybody who jumps from welterweight to 160 or from lightweight to welter or from feather to lightweight, you always have a tune-up just to see how well you feel at that weight. And that's the biggest mistake that Kell Brook made.
Do you think that's a sexy enough name?
You
know what I mean? Because I mean, he's coming off. He was with Triple G, but he sold that main ticket. You know what I mean?
If they want to protect their investment, I think that's the way to go.
To answer your question, I would say in the UK, yes, because mind you, he sold out versus Jojo Dan and Frankie Gavin. Who are they compared to a name like Austin Trout? If you put that in the UK, yes. Now the question is, will any of the guys named travel to the UK for that? We know we've seen Dominic Brazil go to the UK to fight Anthony Joshua, and we've seen that happen. We saw Wilder attempting to go to Russia to fight Povetkin and everything, even though he was the champ. So there might be some leeway there, but obviously we'll see where that goes.